I have some fatherly advice today for new dad Josh Naylor and another Derek, that's a dad, and Derek Jeter. Not only do we have updates on MLB postseason, but we are breaking down the catcher controversy, if you will, going into 2026 and discussing why, even though James McCann should be back, he shouldn't be the everyday catcher for this team. Don't go anywhere. We're starting in 30 seconds. Welcome in to Studio K. Excuse me, I forgot the live part. Live from Studio K, presented by our friends at Circle K. It's the PHNX Diamondbacks show, aka, I guess, the PHNX MLB postseason show. We just want to get in on the fun that all of our friends over at PHLY are having. Everybody has news except us. People are firing GMs, they're firing coaches, they're in the playoffs, and meanwhile, we sit here on the outside looking in, waiting for something to happen. But I am so thrilled to have you guys here. Welcome in, Zabe. Welcome in, Deborah. Glad to have you guys here. Of course, this is the PHNX Diamondback show, and it is presented by our friends at Bet365 and Game Time. Make sure to go download that Bet365 app right now. Use our code of PHNX365 when you sign up. Get yourself some bonus bets as a new customer for following a few easy steps over at Game Time. Use our code of PHNX, and you'll get yourself $20 off on your first purchase of those already low last-minute ticket deals. Glad to have you guys here. I'm joined by the freckled Mamba himself, Ayrton, on the ones and twos today. And we're all kind of pumped around the office to have this full slate of MLB postseason elimination games today. 4 games today. Very exciting. Do wish that the WNBA finals and the Mercury got themselves a little bit more of a primetime stage. I feel like they deserve it instead of that game starting at 5 p.m., which is ridiculous. But we do have a full slate of MLB games, and I'm sure that's why they pushed the NBA Finals off, or WNBA Finals off here. But it's exciting, man. I mean, we have the potential of all 4 games seeing an elimination today, and some teams moving on. There are some very dominant teams so far and some good matchups. Of course, we are a Seattle Mariners podcast as well around here, as well as a postseason podcast, and we are rooting for our Sea Snakes from Seattle, not just to appease Shane, who would be an utter mess if they don't advance past Noah's Tigers, but also because that is a very fun team to watch, and they have quite a few former Arizona Diamondbacks players over there as we've been spying on them. Those Mariners did take a series lead last night by 2-1 and can clinch their first ALCS appearance since 2001. And let me tell you, Shane will not stop talking about 2001. That's key. We want a big win today to make sure to get past that. Bryce Miller, despite having his struggles this season for Seattle, he takes the mound for the M's, and the Tigers, facing elimination, will counter with Casey Mize. And of course, Mize has not gone very far in his other postseason appearances, so it's a good chance that the Tigers will get into their bullpen early on. But the Mariners just kind of, were punched in the mouth there. They lost that game 1 in extra innings at home, and we discussed it, much like the WNBA Finals. This series doesn't really start until a team loses on the road, and it looked bad for the Mariners considering that they lost game 1, and then they had to look forward to catching Tarek Skubal in game 2, possibly losing both of their home games. But instead, they fought back. Great performances here. Cal Raleigh has been as advertised. He wasn't just a home run leader. He's a leader of this team, and it has been thrilling to watch him come up big. That is something that we discussed a little bit yesterday, how exciting it would be to see the Yankees advance and see this slugging matchup between Cal Raleigh and Aaron Judge there in the ALCS. But who knows if we will see that. Hopefully, the Seattle Mariners can get the job done. It does look like they might have another battle with Tarek Skubal on the horizon if this series gets extended to 5 games. So it would really be great for them to get the job done. RA, meanwhile, says hoping it goes to Game 5. I think that's how we feel when we don't have a stake in it, right? Like you kind of just want everything to go to a winner takes all game. It's the reason why I don't completely disagree with John Boy's playoff reassessment that he wants to do, his plan for not only adding extra teams to Major League Baseball, but his plan to add more teams to the playoffs by not really having these big series, but having, a 1-game elimination game in the first round, then a 3-game series in the second round, and then moving on there to the more, 5-game and 7-game series from that point. But it's because winner take all games are exciting and it's fun. However, I do feel like it's a little bit drastic to have a 162-game season come down to one single game in one single playoff. Yet we did win one of those over here. I don't know what I'm complaining about. That was a really fun win over the Colorado Rockies, and Archie Bradley still won't shut up about it. So that's how big it is for some people. Meanwhile, there's some baby updates for one Josh Naylor. Shane, again, noted Mariners expert, knew the baby was here when Naylor had an 11-pitch at bat in the second inning against Jack Flaherty. He was back, and Shane knew it, and he was right because after the game, Josh did confirm the birth of his first child. Very minimal words spoken about it, and again, Josh is a private man, so we'll keep it somewhat private by saying congrats to the first-time parents on the birth of their child. It is life-changing. I've said it before, but I wouldn't be sitting here on this program talking to you guys had it not been for the birth of my daughter. She inspired me to do more with my life because at one point I knew I was going to have to answer to her what my profession was. And it was really hard explaining to her what I did at the bank. So she definitely is a big reason why I sit here today. And it's always amazing how a baby can change your life. So congrats to the Nailers. My advice is, and considering what Josh is going through right now with the postseason, I know this is very difficult, but enjoy every minute of it, Josh, because as I will say, that no piece of advice was more true than how quickly this time passes by. And the minute you get used to a baby or a child being one thing, they transform into a completely different thing. It's wild. You start catching up, you start keeping pace, and they change up the tempo. That's how kids are. So, but again, congrats and try your best to enjoy every moment because, again, speaking as the father of a 14-year-old who complains about me not putting enough seaweed in her lunch that she takes to school, it all passed by entirely too fast. But speaking of things passing by entirely too fast, this Cubs series with the Brewers might pass by entirely too fast for Chicago fans. The Brewers lead the series 2-0, and they look fairly dominant over the Cubs. I'm not going to lie. It does not look like the Cubs have a chance in this series. Quinn Priester starts for Milwaukee versus Jameson Taillon, who will take the ball for the Cubs. Great pitcher there on the mound. But again, the Brewers have just been dominant offensively. They have not looked like they missed a beat from what they were this season. And they continue to have some good strategies over there. Pat Murphy is a great coach, and you gave a great coach a young, fun team that's exciting, and also pocket pancakes. I still don't understand the pocket pancake, and I am a connoisseur of many foods. I have yet to try a pocket pancake, but it somehow brought that team a remarkable amount of success. So I don't know. Pocket pancakes for everybody, I guess. By the way, the Milwaukee Brewers make pocket pancakes, and they even have like a pocket pancake taco thing that you can get at their stadium. And I've never honestly wanted to try anything more, but that's just because I love ballpark food. But yeah, it does look like the Cubs are in some trouble. This year series shifts back to Wrigley Field, and that's a tough place to play. So again, I mean, it's the friendly confines, but it's only friendly for those Cubbies. So hopefully they can extend this series and make something out of it. We did kind of choose them as our dark horse NL team. That's what I get. I shouldn't have chosen an NL team. I should have known better. We should have just stuck with the Mariners and left it at that. And for that, I am sorry to our brothers from CHGO for what I might have cursed your team with. But the Yankees, meanwhile, they did survive their elimination game last night. They had a dramatic comeback win after being down a lot early, and they force a decisive game. Not, I guess, decisive. Every every game is decisive now for the Yankees, but they have a decisive game 4 where their backs are still up against the wall. And rookie Cam Schlittler, as we talked about last night, is slated to start, of course, and still nothing from the Blue Jays as far as who their starter is going to be. But the Yankees have momentum on their side. If you believe momentum is a real thing, I don't know how many people out there do, but it would appear that New York has momentum on their side. I do want to address one thing, by the way. Yankees fans booed "Oh Canada," and I feel like this is a tough spot to be in, having a team from a different country come here and then have them have an anthem that's essentially just for them, right? It's almost like wrestling theme music, if you will. But at the same time, I won't lie, it's a bad look. It's a bad look, Yankees fans. I get it, but it's a bad look. And I don't think we should be booing anthems. Boo starting lineups, boo when pitchers come out, boo guys coming up to the plate. I don't know if booing an anthem is exactly, the best strategy or at least the best look there, Ayrton. Thoughts on booing another country's anthem? You deal with this with the Suns playing teams in Canada as well. Do they boo the "Oh Canada"?
I've never heard anything like that before.
It's crazy, right? That's nuts.
But also, give it to Yankees fans.
Right. They'll find a new way to have a lack of class. That's for sure. I mean, every postseason, they find brand new ways to invent a lack of class, tearing balls out of guys' hands and booing the national anthem. I feel like that almost got Bad Bunny hurt. Do not hurt Bad Bunny. I am Puerto Rican, and let me tell you, we will not stand for Bad Bunny slander at all, by the way. He almost got hit by a foul ball sitting right behind home plate, and I blame it on the karma. I feel like the negative karma from the stadium almost made one of the greatest artists of our generation get taken out. And don't talk to me about, don't even have that discussion with me. Because again, I'm Puerto Rican, which I'm American, by the way. And we're not going to have the discussion about Bad Bunny playing at the Super Bowl because I am going to be there for every second of it. I'm not changing the channel. I might record it and rewatch it in days to come afterwards. But things I won't watch is the Dodgers versus the Phillies. I don't even want to watch this game, but I do kind of want to watch the Phillies finally exit, and I'm sure that's going to happen tonight in Los Angeles. The Dodgers do lead that series 2-0, and they seek to advance with a sweep. And they have Yoshinobu Yamamoto on the mound. So that Phillies lineup that's already been struggling against Dodgers pitching, good luck tonight against the Dodgers' best in Yamamoto. He starts for Los Angeles. He faces Aaron Nola for the Phillies. So, again, the Dodgers, they have not really been outgunning the Phillies in the same way we've seen in some of these other matches. Toronto beat the brakes off of the Yankees. We've seen the Brewers look like an unstoppable juggernaut. Meanwhile, and even the Mariners finally had their big offensive breakout game last night. The Phillies have done a great job of keeping the Dodgers in these games. The problem is that the Phillies are not generating enough offense to overcome what the Dodgers are doing, whether it's 3 runs, 4 runs, whatever amount of runs. And also the Dodgers figured out their bullpen, as we talked about a little bit. That was their main Achilles heel, and they kind of have Roki Sasaki now in this closer role that seems to be working well for them. They just have to figure out how to get through that 7th and 8th inning, and if they can do so, I think they'll be able to finish off the Phillies tonight. I think Yamamoto is going to give them another great start, and I would not be surprised to see that series end in Los Angeles with a 3-0 sweep. Meanwhile, looking at the rest of these series, I feel very strongly that the New York Yankees have a chance. Schlittler was incredible in his last outing, and if he brings that same energy, meanwhile, he does not have the hate of the Boston Red Sox on his side this time. The Boston Red Sox fans apparently went in on him or went after his mom on social media, and that caused Cam to turn into a superhuman. I'm not sure if you can still generate that kind of performance without the hate and pettiness driving him. And Toronto Blue Jay fans are far too nice, far too respectful to ever give him that kind of fuel for the fire. So it'll be interesting if he can still have another dominant postseason performance. And I feel strongly that the Yankees are going to extend that and send that series back to Toronto. I do think it's a wrap for the Chicago Cubs. These are my predictions for tonight. I think the Cubs are once again outgunned by the Brewers. And I really do hope the Mariners finish the job here against the Tigers. I really think that if the Mariners do not win today against the Tigers, there is a good chance that the Mariners are going to lose this series back in Detroit against, back in Seattle against Tarek Skubal. Now, they did win the last time, so again, there's not much to say that is based on, because it was a surprising win over Skubal, but still, nonetheless, we were rooting for our Sea Snakes, as Elizabeth says. Let's go Sea Snakes. And man, I just love this. Days like this are the best days to be a baseball fan. Inject this directly into my veins. 4 potential elimination games scattered throughout my day. I'm sitting here like a kid in class. I'm not even thinking about doing this show right now. I'm just dreaming about going and sitting on the recliners and putting all the TVs on. So baseball at least brings us this joy today, and thank God, because we need a distraction from all the terrible things happening in our other sports that aren't the WNBA and the Mercury. So, well, I don't know about that. The Suns have some good things cooking, and I think they're going to be surprising. We're going to talk about that tomorrow on Southwest Bias. By the way, I'm doing 2 shows now while Espo is out. So if you just feel like grabbing yourself a bowl of cereal and spending mornings with the mayor, that's what we do around here. Mornings are for coffee and contemplation, and for talking about Arizona sports breaking our hearts. So make sure to join us for that show. And of course, thank you guys so much for being here for this show. On the other side of this break, we have a big discussion to talk about, and that is the impact James McCann has had on the Arizona Diamondbacks as a backup catcher, and if that impact is big enough to not only bring him back next season, but for him to surpass Gabriel Moreno as the number 1 catcher. I have all the reasons why I don't think that's going to happen on the other side of this break. Don't you go anywhere. You're watching the PHNX Dbacks show. Well, if you are looking for some gear to make your brand stand apart from the crowd, look no further than Brandon Bills. Brandon Bills has you covered with the best custom headwear. Start your order, and their dedicated team will help you create the exact custom apparel you need. And let me tell you, we got some directly created, some amazing branded material from Brandon Bills. We got our PHNX Phoenix hats, and it is one of my favorite hats that we own. Not only is it our amazing Phoenix logo, our beloved boy, but the quality, the work, the craftsmanship, if you will, that Brandon Bills puts into their hats is second to none. It's one of the best hats I've ever owned. It's lightweight, it's stretchy. I have a big head, so it's hard for me to cover up all of this. And Brandon Bills has it nailed with some of the finest hats you'll ever find. Not only hats, but they have a wide variety of hats, including snapbacks, truckers, fitted hats, beanies. They have t-shirts, they have bags, they have so much. So, of course, look to Brandon Bills to help you increase your brand awareness, for sure. They also have partnerships with 40 universities, including ASU and U of A, as well as a partnership with the Phoenix Suns. So if you're just a hat aficionado like us, make sure to check out their full collection over there at brandonbills.com. They're a local company from right here in Mesa, Arizona, and it always feels great to shop local. You can head to brandonbills.com and use our code of BBPHNX for 15% off your order right now. And of course, buy your tickets with Game Time. I don't know what time it is right now, but I do know that at all times, it's always Game Time. Game Time helps you save on last-minute ticket deals, and if you're like me and you're bad at planning, you'll get FOMO and you'll want to go to these events. Let's just be honest about it. So make sure to not miss out. With our friends over at Game Time, you're going to save on those last-minute tickets. You're going to save up to 60% off on last-minute tickets. You can save even more with their zone deals, where you choose a section and let Game Time choose the seat for you. Or you can see what your view is going to be from any seat. So that way there's no surprises. You get a panoramic view from your seat in the app before you buy. Plus, speaking of buying, they will give you the lowest price guarantee, or Game Time will credit you 110% of the difference. No reason to shop elsewhere. Take the guesswork out of buying NFL tickets with Game Time right now. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code PHNX for $20 off your first order. Terms do apply. Again, create an account and redeem code PHNX for $20 off. Tap, ticket, go. Download the Game Time app today. Ayrton, what time is it?
Game time.
Game time. I need some more enthusiasm out of you when it comes to game time, okay? I'll let it slide on the other stuff, but when it's game time, Ayrton. All right. Well, speaking of game time, it's going to be interesting in 2026 to see what exactly the identity of this Arizona Diamondbacks team is. But we do know down the stretch they made lots of changes with their personnel, and one of the most impactful changes seemed to be adding catcher James McCann to the roster. Now, this was done after Gabriel Moreno experienced a hand injury, and essentially the Diamondbacks were left with Jose Herrera and a very questionable Adrian Del Castillo as their catching options. So They, based on the suggestion from one brilliant Corbin Burns, they went out and picked up James McCann, a veteran backup catcher, to come in here and help this team just get through the injury of Gabriel Moreno. It was yet another patch on the Diamondbacks 2025 season. It was a tire filled with patches. It looked like a bicycle tire from like a Looney Tunes cartoon, with all the little patches sewn into it all over the place, right? That was the 2025 season. This didn't feel like a move to improve the team. This didn't feel like a move that you do where there's just a great player available on the market and you go out and add them. This was, I don't want to say desperation move, but this was to bring in a body that the Diamondbacks needed to fill due to injury. And they did it based on, Corbin Burns kind of giving a glowing review of James McCann as a person and as a player. It proves that James McCann came to this team to bring his gigantic arms here, wrapped in, wraps and looking very handsome. Sexy man, James McCann, aka big body James McCann, comes here, does a great job, immediately starts gassing up guys like Zach Gallen, starts discussing how good he assesses this team to be, and really does start putting in the work to help this team kind of get out of the rut they were in around the trade deadline and after the trade deadline. And they improved and they bounced back. And McCann was a huge part of that, right? He not only played so well that he improved the pitching staff and gave Zach Gallen somehow his confidence back, but he just became a leader in the dugout. They discussed James McCann and the conversations. Torey Lovullo discussed the baseball conversations that were happening in the dugout. And those are the things where guys are just sharing information, talking about what's going on with the opposing pitcher, coaching each other, giving each other advice, telling each other what they're seeing out there. And again, the experience that McCann brought to this team, I think, was by far the most valuable trait that he brought, because again, this is a young team. With this Arizona Diamondbacks team, experience, they've had some great experience. That run in the 2023 postseason was invaluable for him. But at the same time, too, the experience of James McCann is something that you can't rush with any of these young players. And the ability to have a veteran like that as a part of your team that can share that experience with those young players, again, is a very, very valuable trait that you just can't get everywhere else. Sometimes those vets don't produce enough. They don't perform well enough for them to stick around and be able to share that experience with young players. The Diamondbacks have had that in their past, including in that 2023 season with Evan Longoria. His veteran leadership proved to be very, very powerful for this team. And a lot of players credited him for being a big part of why they were able to go on that run in the postseason. But now we sit here at this point where the Diamondbacks had such a belief in James McCann and they were so happy with what he was doing that they proceeded to move on from Jose Herrera as being the backup when Gabriel Moreno returned. And they basically did like a timeshare behind the plate with James McCann and Gabi. And it got to the point where we actually saw McCann kind of take over behind home plate as the primary catcher for this team down the stretch when the games were most important. And we saw Gabriel Moreno relegated to a kind of a DH role overall. So this leaves a lot of questions for 2026 and a lot of questions about Gabi, right? In regards to how this organization feels about him and where they feel like he was at behind the plate. Now, I have some stats that I pulled, and the most amazing things about this, I think, will be, as you'll see, is how close these two pitchers or these two catchers actually are in their statistics. This season, James McCann caught 42 games for the Arizona Diamondbacks. Gabriel Moreno caught 83 games. He caught 598 innings to McCann's 316 innings caught. The most amazing stat about this was when I pulled their caught stealing stats there, and their caught stealing percentage was identical at 19.2. It didn't make any sense to me at all. And again, it goes to show that these two players, these two catchers, are very even, but Gabriel Moreno, meanwhile, was having a down season, and this is just where James McCann is at. Gabriel Moreno in 2024 had a 28.6% caught stealing percentage. In 2023, he led baseball with a 38.6% caught stealing percentage. So this was a bad year for Gabi. Injuries probably played into this strongly, but still, you don't feel like this 19.2% is indicative of what Gabriel Moreno is going to be. I think this is just more of an indication of what he was. However, there are a lot of things that it feels like James McCann were better at. And when you take a look at the statistics between these two players, you'll see that he wasn't. I mean, Gabi had 3 pass balls, McCann had 0, but Gabi almost had nearly double the amount of games caught, allowing for those opportunities for pass balls to happen. Meanwhile, here they had 996 fielding percentage for James McCann and 998 for Gabriel Moreno. And Gabriel Moreno actually had that stat is off. Not to attack Ayrton here, but Gabriel Moreno had 28 assists and James McCann had 14. So these two players, again, were very, very close on all of their statistics this year, and they didn't really differ as much as you might think, at least as much as even I talked about on this show. I feel like I was a proponent of this, and it's mostly because of McCann's gigantic arms and the fact that he wears Ultimate Warrior armbands. Like, I'm not supposed to be in love with that guy, but also I adore Gabi Moreno, and I think he is one of the best players that the Diamondbacks have acquired through trade in the way they did for that Dalton Varsho trade. I think he's a huge part of this team's future, and I think as far as the core is concerned of Ketel Marte, Corbin Carroll, and Geraldo Perdomo, I really do feel like Gabi Moreno should be the 4th man in that quartet. I feel like he should be the next one extended. I do feel like this down season gives the Diamondbacks an opportunity to maybe press a little harder to make that extension happen, because as of right now, Gabi is under contract through the 2029 season when he would become a free agent. He will go through arbitration in 2026, and his salary will be much bigger than it was. I think he was making $763,000 last year. Probably make close to $2.1 million going forward next year. Another reason why the Diamondbacks are going to have some problems when it comes to just their payroll overall, because the guys that are here, a lot of them, their salaries are going to be increasing, on top of the fact that the Diamondbacks need to go out there and find players to replace the ones leaving with a limited budget, right? But the most important factor for me here is pitching ERA. And it's kind of crazy to me once again, because even I found some of these numbers to be a bit surprising here at the end of the season. The Diamondbacks pitching staff ERA with James McCann catching had a 4.02 ERA and a 250 opponent batting average. Meanwhile, with Moreno behind the plate, the Diamondbacks pitching staff had a 4.80 ERA and a 253 opponent batting average. Opponent batting average almost identical once again, as are many stats between Gabi and James McCann. But the 4.80 ERA, again, much bigger sample size for Gabi Moreno as far as games that he caught behind the plate. However, it still is substantially more, right, than with James McCann back there. And I feel like that right there is the biggest reason why, when you look at what the Diamondbacks did down the stretch to end the 2025 season, that is the reason why they turned to James McCann for more appearances behind the plate than any other reason. It is because they felt like with McCann back there, that difference in ERA, 0.72 earned runs, that's significant enough to have somebody, to have McCann back there over Gabi. I feel like the biggest difference overall, because so many of these numbers are so similar, is James McCann's ability to call the game. And I know from hearing from pitchers and from, even prior to McCann calling the game, the reason why guys like Zach Gallen and Merrill Kelly seem to favor Jose Herrera behind the plate is because he called the game. And I think that a catcher calling the game is the way that this game should be. I felt like it was crazy, and it made me once again feel like a very old person, as does a lot of things in life almost every single day. When I found out, with the pitch comm and stuff, that pitchers were calling the games now and calling their pitches, like that just doesn't, there's too much hubris on the pitcher side. It's the same reason why I would never let pitchers ever call for a review of the ABS system once it's implemented. As far as like the balls and strikes, a pitcher's always going to think that they're in the right there, right? So again, I feel like it's much better there to go with the catcher, who has a different perspective on it, understands, sees things differently, sees things better than the pitcher's seeing, and knows when things were a ball or strike. But also, a catcher behind the plate calling a game can see when batters are being aggressive. He can see when a pitch isn't working, whereas a pitcher might be stubborn in their approach to making a pitcher work. And I think that these are all the reasons why the one thing Gabi Moreno needs to work on, besides, his arm there and his arm, I don't know if it's arm strength, but maybe it's just his general approach to getting runners at second base, because I would love to see him gunning guys out again like he did back in 2023, is the fact that that Gabi does not call the games or has not been credited with his game calling behind the plate as much as someone like James McCann is. I think, though, the craziest, again, that's the biggest difference. The biggest difference is the staff ERA with McCann behind the plate versus Moreno. And that's probably the only argument anybody could make for James McCann having more time next year than Gabi Moreno. As it stands, McCann is a free agent, but I do think that the Diamondbacks absolutely should bring him back. I think that things that he does, like he's just not only a backup catcher, but he's an additional coach essentially in the dugout, and the knowledge that he can bring to this team, again, very valuable. He made Zach Gallen kind of believe in himself again. But the results, if you drill down for Zach Gallen, the results weren't there with James McCann. Zach Gallen just started kind of pitching better during that time, but he still had his struggles with McCann. And believe it or not, again, even though it's a smaller sample size, Zach Gallen had a higher ERA with James McCann behind the plate than he did with Gabi. This season, Zach Gallen's ERA with McCann behind the plate was 4.69, and behind the plate with Gabi Moreno, it was 4.61. Again, that's a point that I've probably beat up entirely too much about the difference between James McCann and Gabriel Moreno, is how much McCann had individually improved the Diamondbacks' standing ace, right? So that felt like something that was more real than it actually is when you sit here and look at the numbers at the end of the season. And again, this is also a smaller sample size, so there's no way to really know. But again, this is one of those situations where Gabriel Moreno should be the catcher of the future, and he should be who the Diamondbacks invest in going forward, right? Like, there is time here that is being put in, and that experience that we're talking about, James McCann, cannot come to Gabriel Moreno if he is splitting time equally with James McCann, or for some reason not doing as much back there. El Gallo is here talking, and he cannot stand the idea of bringing James McCann back for some reason, and that I don't get. Like, I feel like James McCann coming back here is not as negative as you're making it out to be, as long as McCann doesn't come back as the primary catcher. The Diamondbacks are going to need a backup, and Torey Lovullo is going to be the manager next year, whether some of you like it or not, right? Torey Lovullo-led team will never have like a catcher being back there 5 days out of 6. Most of the time, it's going to be a timeshare situation where you have one guy getting a little bit more of the reps than the other guy. And that's just the way that Torey Lovullo runs his team. If you put those defensive metrics, Ayrton, back up on the screen, you'll see that the one benefit here, maybe, again, I am with you in the idea here that I do not think Gabriel Moreno should lose his position as the number one catcher on the depth chart to James McCann. But when you look at these numbers, what you are getting from James McCann as a backup is a guy that's producing at the same level as Gabriel Moreno. So there's not this huge drop-off. And we're going to go over the offensive numbers here momentarily, but just defensively, you can see there that this team is not it's just not this team that is so much better with James McCann back there. But McCann is a much better backup for this team than Jose Herrera. There might be relationships, there might have been friendships, but I feel like at the end of the day, what McCann brings on top of that production that we just showed there is the fact. But let me see. Played 83 games, but 75 as catcher. The rest is DH. Yeah, you're right about that, RA. My bad. I did put in there his games played this year and not necessarily his just his catching performances. But still, 75 games. He did play a handful of DH and was not very good when hitting at DH. So we're going to go over those numbers on the other side of this break. We're going to take a quick break right now when we're going to still talk about this battle between James McCann and Gabi Moreno. Don't you go anywhere. You're watching the PHNX Diamondback Show. All right, Phoenix, it doesn't matter what you're gearing up for, whether you're gearing up for the WNBA Finals tonight, whether you are getting yourself ready for another heartbreaking, crushing loss by the Arizona Cardinals, or whether you just miss baseball as much as we do, head out to Zen Leaf Dispensaries. They have something for you. It is your go-to spot for cannabis, including flower, vapes, edibles, and more, and all from the brands you trust, with locations all across the valley, including Chandler, Gilbert, and North Phoenix. It's easy to swing by before kickoff or order online for express pickup post-workout. And let me tell you, you are playing 4D chess if you are ordering online. Forget the lines, forget doing all that. Get it taken care of, walk in, walk out with everything you need. And right now you can do that for 50% off with our new deal. Right now, for a limited time, you can use our code of ZenPHNX and get 50% off. That's right, 50% off just for listening. You can use this code only once, so make sure to stock up with this amazing discount. Whether you've been to a dispensary before or you're trying it out for the first time, they will take care of you over there at Zen Leaf. They'll make sure you leave with exactly what fits your needs. So next time you're pre-gaming, post-gaming, or just need to chill out after another devastating Cardinals loss, head to their website linked in the show description or visit any one of their 8 Valley locations to find your Zen. And don't forget, for a limited time, you get that 50% off using promo code ZenPHNX for a one-time purchase. Zen Leaf, great weed, great service every time. And you know what pairs together great with Zen Leaf, once again, is Circle K. Make sure to stop by Circle K on your way to any Zen Leaf and fill up. Get yourself something to drink, get yourself some snacks, and most importantly, get yourself some cheap gas. I talked about this earlier, but I drove very far specifically on fumes just to make it to a Circle K so I could save on their gas. As an Inner Circle member, I saved. As a Easy Pay member, I saved. And of course, I also have this fun little 10-cent off gas card that saved me even more. So big shout out to Circle K for saving me on gas. They can save you as well. Make sure to stop by right now. If you're an Inner Circle member, all you got to do is sign up and use your phone number. You can visit once and either make a $5 purchase or purchase $5 of gas, 5 gallons, of gas, and you will get 10 cents off per gallon on your next visit. So join the Inner Circle for free by downloading the Circle K app today. Terms and conditions apply at participating locations. Visit circlek.com for details. Let's see here. Okay. El Gallo's getting down to his problem with McCann. He says, I'm a Del Castillo fan. I don't want McCann on roster over Del. That's a tough sell as well. I will first start off by saying I am also very much an Adrian Del Castillo fan. Quite frankly, he is a guy that has impressed me in high leverage situations. And I've always kind of felt like he was the future of catching for this team. And then when the Diamondbacks, acquired Gabriel Moreno, I wondered where that left him. I feel like the big problem with Del Castillo, once again, is a lack of satisfaction with his defense behind the plate, with his caught stealing percentages, with a lot of these defensive metrics that we went over. You're not going to find any problem with ADC's offense, despite the fact he's a bit streaky. That could absolutely be blamed on the lack of playing time he receives. And I still don't really know how he's going to factor into this team in 2026 and beyond. There are a few rookies I felt, or not rookies, young players, Blaze Alexander, Adrian Del Castillo, guys that stepped up for this team. I feel like Blaze secured a spot for himself for next year. It's just going to be interesting to see if the Diamondbacks are committed to Jordan Lawler playing third base, and that's going to be their everyday regular third baseman in 2026, and that would move Blaze probably to left field to take over for the injured Lourdes Gurriel Jr. With the limited resources they have, that kind of makes sense, even though, that's something that might be hard to accept considering that we've still seen Jordan Lawler struggle both defensively and at the plate. And again, Blaze Alexander, once he moved out to the outfield, or moved around the diamond, I should say, we saw his offensive numbers impacted. Perhaps just giving him those everyday reps at the same position can help Blaze find that consistency at the plate, and maybe, again, even giving a guy like Jordan Lawler everyday reps. And I agree about Adrian Del Castillo, but it's the reason why here that the most important catcher in this equation continues to be Gabriel Moreno. Gabriel Moreno is the guy that this Diamondbacks team needs to focus on because he is the future of this team. He is the foreseeable starting catcher for the next 3 seasons. And quite frankly, like I said earlier, should be extended beyond that so that he remains part of this core and remains a Diamondback for a very long time. But taking a look at their offensive numbers, you'll see here once again that the edge goes to Gabriel Moreno, but not by much, right? And again, Moreno missed a significant amount of time with a hand injury that's very difficult to come back from. So his offensive numbers being impacted by time missed and by the injury, as well as just kind of a confusing situation when he returned, kind of could have impacted what we're seeing here. But overall batting average, 260 for James McCann this season, 285 for Gabriel Moreno. Moreno had 9 home runs to McCann's 5. Moreno had 40 RBI. James McCann had 17. Moreno posted a 786 OPS to James McCann's 754. McCann had a 1 BWAR. Gabriel Moreno had a 1.6 BWAR. And then barrel percentage, almost a push there with McCann having a 7.6% barrel rate and Gabi having a 7.1% barrel rate. And let's see here. RA in the chat says maybe give Dell some reps in the outfield in spring training, see what he can do. I also don't hate the idea of, once again, much like Moneyball, converting a catcher into a first baseman and seeing if Adrian Del Castillo might be able to help them over there with their first baseman issue. Like maybe the idea of moving these guys around is the key, right? But the fact of the matter is that Gabriel Moreno, in order for him to become the play caller that we are hearing McCann is, he needs those games. He needs those reps, and he needs them behind the plate. He doesn't need them at DH. I don't think Gabriel Moreno is the answer at DH, and I don't love the idea of that. I mean, I know that they wanted his bat in there late in the season. I don't foresee this being the case in 2026, nor do I foresee his numbers as a DH being so bad. I think a lot of this still was impacted by returning from that hand injury, but in 8 games as a designated hitter in 2025, Gabriel Moreno slashed 130, 276, 130 for a 406 OPS. He had 0 home runs and 2 RBI. So not a great situation for him as DH. And at the end of the day, I still feel very strongly about bringing James McCann back, but making sure that Gabriel Moreno is the starting catcher that gets the majority of the reps. I feel like McCann, and when we talk about his experience, when we talk about everything that he brings to this team, his years in Major League Baseball, it probably doesn't even need to be said to McCann that he would be being brought back not only in a backup role, but being brought on in a way to share his tutelage with Gabriel Moreno and help make him a better catcher. And honestly, I saw a relationship developing last year towards the end of the year between Gabi and McCann. And I think that if you bring McCann back, that relationship can continue to flourish. And quite frankly, I mean, again, he still feels like a better backup option for this team than ADC or Jose Herrera. So I also felt like I've seen a lot of players be added to this roster, and I don't really think I've ever seen anybody that adapted so quickly to the team culture and to just kind of being one of the guys in the clubhouse as quickly as McCann. Again, that experience he has of being a Major League Baseball player plays strongly into that, but it also just has to do with the type of person McCann is. He's the kind of guy that's giving young guys advice in the dugout and then also sprinkling sunflower seeds into their hair when they're not looking. Blaze, still remember that. And again, there's just there isn't enough that can be said about that. Plus, McCann's going to be cheap as an option for this team. I did think that he showed his value off, so there probably will be other teams interested in him as well as a free agent. But I just think bringing James McCann back is the absolute smartest move that this team could make. And again, though, that return would have to be in the capacity of backing up Gabriel Moreno. Moreno is the future of this team. He is Corbin Carroll's best friend. And I don't understand any of these relationships or friendships, but I love them and I adore them. I'm so happy that is how this team feels about each other. And when you hear Gabi talk about Corbin and Corbin talk about Perdomo and Perdomo talk about Blaze and Blaze talk about all of those guys and coming up with all these guys, it's a special group. And I think that the only way that this Diamondbacks team can succeed is sifting through, finding the diamonds in the rough as they have, extending those guys as they have, and keeping them here long term, and continuing to add to this team, in small ways, especially role players, veteran guys like McCann, guys that can just help make this team not only better on the field with their performance, but can help make each one of these guys that the Diamondbacks are investing in so much, investing in so strongly to make them the next level or help them get to that next level. So again, though, I know that so many of you feel strongly about this, and I think that at the core of it, it's because, like El Gallo, he's a Del Castillo fan. So many people are Moreno fans. Like, at the end of the day, this team seems to succeed when they put those young players first and give them an opportunity to go out there and not only make mistakes and figure things out, but, win games for this baseball team. Gabriel Moreno's past metrics make me believe so strongly in him getting back there, but this was a bad season in a lot of different ways. And I think that, the biggest concern for me for Gabi, besides his play calling, is his health. If he can stay healthy, have a strong offseason, and come back improved in 2026, I believe that Moreno could get back to some of these numbers that we've seen him post so far already in his career, especially like that 38.6% caught stealing percentage. That's sexy. That's sexier than James McCann's arms for sure. So again, hope to see Moreno back healthy and hope to see him delivering in the way that he has so far. But we already talked a little bit about how much the Cardinals broke our heart. A great way to kind of find community is not only with our PHNX Cardinals show, where Bo and Johnny do such an amazing job, but come on out for our live events. It's always a great time. You can join the PHNX Cardinals crew for a pregame tailgate at Chicken and Pickle in Glendale before the Cardinals take on the Packers on October 19th. We're going to be out there at 11 a.m. Again, I say we because if it's any event on the West Side, I'm obligated to going, as I think I'm the only office West Sider around here. But we're going to be having a great time out there. Chicken and Pickle is an amazing place for you to come out and enjoy all of the fun that they have. Like, again, it is one of the biggest facilities that I've ever gone to watch sports. They have indoor, outdoor pickleball courts. It's a great time. It's an absolutely blast. And if you're looking for a place, quite frankly, to go with a big group, it is the place to go, especially if it's a last-minute deal, because you know how hard it can be to find space for your entire group. So bring your family, bring everyone, and come out to Chicken and Pickle before the Cardinals take on the Packers. We're going to be watching football, but you can also get a pickleball court. They have indoor TVs. They have indoor courts. It's a blast. Weather's getting nicer, so maybe by October 19th, we'll all be playing outdoors. But we're also going to have those PHNX merch giveaways, yard games, drink specials, and so much more. Go to gophnx.com/events to RSP right now for this free event. Ayrton, have you been out to any of our tailgates yet?
Unfortunately, I have not yet.
Oh, it's a good time. Let me tell you, it's a good time. And the people over at Chicken and Pickle, by the way, hook us up with those drink specials. I know they're for you guys watching, for you guys attending, but they're also for me. So yes, I love it. Let's see. RA is giving us an update. The Sea Snakes are up 1-0 right now on a Dom Canzone RBI single. Let's go, baby. Let's go. Love when the former Diamondbacks are doing things in the playoff. Love to see that for those guys. Also, it hurts and it's heartbreaking to see our former players doing big things in the playoffs, by the way. So, and let me tell you, doing this show, I find a new appreciation for things that I never appreciated as a fan. A lot of it has to do with the production level of the broadcast, cameras, like how cameras are pointed, how much headroom there is on shots. These are all things that I never cared about, but I'm obsessed with now whenever I watch what happened like yesterday in the Tigers-Mariners game, where that game was delayed due to a rain delay, and the hosts out there, which are a bunch of MLB legends in their own right, had to kind of tread water, forgive the pun here, but they had to tread water to get through that and to entertain the people watching until the game finally started, which was, I believe, around like 3:30, 4 o'clock our time. But besides Big Papi being a weatherman, which, as I told you yesterday, was one of my favorite things of the rain delay, we also had, during this rain delay, Derek Jeter get a phone call live on Fox Sports revealing that he has now, due to the rain delay, missed a parent-teacher conference for one of his children. The interruption led to, of course, David Ortiz and Kevin Burkhardt giving Jeter a hard time about taking the call during the broadcast. And I don't blame Derek Jeter, because life doesn't stop because there's a rain delay, quite frankly. We have things scheduled. Like, I'm supposed to be off air at 1 o'clock, right? Like, if I'm not off air at 1 o'clock, I'm going to be getting a phone call from my daughter whether I'm on air or not. She's going to be like, hey, what are you doing? What are we doing for lunch? That's what my daughter's going to be doing, right? So Jeter is a father of four, and he handled the situation so wonderfully. But my favorite part about it was that he had to say he was going to miss the parent-teacher conference. And then he followed that up with the most unsincere, so sorry, guys, I've ever heard in my life. And the reason why is because I'll tell you this to people who aren't parents, and this is great advice for Josh Naylor, who is now a new father. As a parent, there is nothing I hate more than parent-teacher conferences. Nothing I hate more. And they've only gotten progressively worse as my daughter's gotten older. Those early days, they took it easy on us. She was an angel. She was the best. It was great to have her in class. And then you get to junior high school, and you are no longer having a meeting with a sweet elementary school teacher. No. Now you're having it with a board of junior high teachers who all have all the terrible things to tell you about your child, no matter how small they are. And if you get defensive, you know that that's only going to cause them to look at you like, that's why she's this way, right? And that's why parent-teacher conferences are terrible. I'm supposed to go into a meeting about my child and hear how bad of a job she's been doing at school. I don't want that in my life. I didn't sign up for this. I do, as a parent, understand my role in making sure that she maintains good grades, stays in school, flourishes, prospers, thrives, goes to college, has her dream job, and lives the best life that she's ever lived. However, I don't know if parent-teacher conferences are the key to that. And I don't know if me being in them is the best. And also, they're all back to being in person, by the way. I don't know if Derek Jeter's was in person, but I went through a time where my daughter was not only in school, but she was schooled at home because of a pandemic that you may or may not have forgotten that happened. That was the best time for all parent-teacher conversations. They all happened through Zoom. They were all quick. Very little information was shared. It was great. But now here we sit back to parent-teacher conferences happening in person. And I'll tell you, they're just the worst thing ever. And let me tell you, I'm very sensitive about my daughter. She's an incredible person, and I will always have her back. So it's very hard for me as a dad to just sit there and listen to a complete stranger, this person who I've never met before in my life, now telling me all of these negative things about my daughter. It's not going to register with me. And I just sit there and bite my tongue. I let my wife do the heavy lifting because she's much nicer in these scenarios than I am. And I would use any excuse that I could to get out of a parent-teacher conference. So Derek Jeter, who obviously he's a much more experienced father than I am, considering he has 4 children. They're all very young. None of them are teenagers in high school. He handled that amazingly. And I'm sure, like I said, at the end of the day, probably really thrilled that rain delay happened and that he didn't have to be at that parent-teacher conference. Zabe, aka Elizabeth, in our chat says, when is the mayoral daughter going to be on the show to roast Derek? Now, see, that's a great question because I'm sure she would love to be on this show simply to do that. But I don't know if she's ready to roast me under the pressure, right? Like, this is a lot of pressure being live and under these studio lights. She just casually roasts me on an everyday kind of scenario. And let me tell you how sick I am of the numbers 6 and 7. I am so sick of both the numbers 6 and 7 having a high school teenager. I can't even explain it to you. I can't express how much I hate the numbers 6 and 7. But we'll make that happen soon, very much so. We need to have the mayoral daughter on here. But again, there's this was a funny thing because I loved David Ortiz telling Jeter to take the phone call while it was happening. I love the way that they handled it. And again, it's real life happening right in front of us because it decided to rain in Detroit for that game. Speaking of Detroit, I also called the fact that I knew Gino Suarez was going to have a big game because he is very familiar with Comerica Park, and I knew he was going to step out for that one. But again, we have some elimination games. I want to go watch baseball right now. You guys are giving me updates that our Sea Snakes are up 1-0, and I very much want to get out there to watch that. So there's also, I did hint to it yesterday, there's also a civil war brewing here in the office because should today's Mariners score hold and the Mariners win this game, right now. They're up 1-0 in the bottom of the third inning. That would mean the Mariners are going to advance to the ALCS and most likely take on the Toronto Blue Jays. Now, things were already bad enough between the production staff because it was Shane's Mariners versus Noah's Tigers. But at the next level, we are going to get a relationship civil war between Shane and Leah, because Leah is from Toronto and she very much reps the Blue Jays. And then her significant other here, Shane, to say he lives and dies with the Mariners would be an understatement, right, Ayrton? Like, his level of fandom definitely goes above fanatic and more into the trauma range of being a fan of a team, right?
I thought he was diehard ASU until I saw him watch a Mariners game yesterday.
The funny thing about the Mariners is he will talk to you about that team, no matter who you are, like you know everything about that team. He'll just come up and start talking to you about Gilbert, shoving and Polanco finally doing the thing, and you're just like, I don't know who any of these guys are. I'm sorry. I'm not familiar with your baseball team, Shane. I mean, I am because I do this, but most of these people in the office he goes and talks to and screams at about this team. And again, it's Shane and Leah. How much are we going to get done over that 7-game series around this office, Ayrton? Because I feel like everything is just going to be very much revolving those games when they take place and how much access we have to those people. And then we have the fallout. One of them is going to be very sad. And if it's Shane, I don't know if he'll ever recover from it, quite frankly.
I haven't even thought about the production side. All I've thought about is the destruction that is going to happen.
Yeah, like the feelings that are going to be hurt, the way that relationships will be changed forever. And that is why we love baseball so much. Appreciate you guys again so much for being here. AZ Native in the chat says, let's replicate another VAR show. I wouldn't hate that in turning a catcher into a very good defensive player that can go out there and help your team win baseball games. And again, that was what RA was kind of alluding to with Adrian Del Castillo. And again, I don't know, but I think that Mike Hazen has a lot of things to fix with this team. And we've discussed the pitching. We're going to discuss potential free agents, as well as still give out our report cards for all of our players. That's going to start next week. So make sure to join us for report card week here. I don't know if it's week. It'll probably be report card weeks. But we're going to go back and revisit how some of these guys did during the 2026 or 2025 season, much like we did here with Gabriel Moreno and James McCann. And honestly, I don't know. I mean, the Diamondbacks, with some of their talented players, with guys like Blaze that have that ability to be multi-talented and play in a utility role, I would just like this team to figure out where their weaknesses, where they need to address, and who can help them that is currently on this roster or in Reno. By the way, that's another thing, is that there still could be some young guys from Reno, especially with these trades made that could help this team next year. And I'm still looking at Cole Drake at still potentially making an impact on the Diamondbacks. I don't know if it'll be to start the season, considering his injury that he experienced, but hopefully we'll see Drake and some of the other young players that Diamondbacks got through those trades at the deadline make that impact on the season. But we will be back again tomorrow with another 12 p.m. show. We're going to recap who got eliminated and who's still alive. Plus, we'll have more on the Arizona Diamondbacks and what they're going to do in 2026. So until then, we thank you guys so much for stopping by. We appreciate you giving us your time. Again, your time is your most valuable commodity. Can't thank you enough for sharing it with us. You can follow me on Twitter. I am at cap_caveman with a K. Ayrton, once again, has the greatest Twitter handle in this company. He is at Freckled Mamba. Still don't know how you got that. I mean, it is a very particular phrase, but it's also just an incredible name. Our show is at PHNX_Dbacks. But as always, all roads lead to at PHNX_sports on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook. We thank you guys again so much for your time. Thank you, Deborah. Thank you, Zabe. Thank you, Ari. Thank you guys all for your time. We'll see you back here tomorrow. And until then, we appreciate you. We hope you guys all have a wonderful evening. We hope that we see some teams get eliminated, including those Tigers, so that our Mariners can move on. And of course, we'll be talking about it all tomorrow. Guys, have a wonderful night. Behave yourselves. Elizabeth, I'm giving it to Elizabeth this time. You behave yourself tonight. Again, appreciate you guys' time. And remember, kids, baseball is fun, but it is so much more fun when, once again, your Sea Snakes can advance to the ALCS.
all silly like the mayor.